Hello, this is First Fire Non-Assault Move. Welcome back to the 49th episode in the War in the East series. Let's get a situation report. It is the first week of May. The game has advanced 5 weeks, 4 weeks of mud, 28 days of mud, all 3 Soviet zones. The ice slowly started to thaw and the ground was an oozing quagmire across the whole scope of the front. Now, this is the 5th week. We have only done a few moves, no real moves in attacks, just chased off some partisans and shifted a few of our divisions around back to the front. Let's get a summary of what happened over those 28 days of mud. Overall, a lot of admin moves, using airdrops to resupply our forces, repairing rail lines, arraying our forces into attack positions in preparation for the break of the mud season and getting into offensive weather. Let's start with Army Group North. A few interesting things to point out. Here, at one point, the Soviets had pushed really about 10 to 12 formations through this gap, and they were 30 to 40 miles behind German lines. The funny thing, I didn't notice that until I was arraying my own forces, shuffling around and tidying up command and control, and we bumped up against some Soviet divisions way back here. The front looks different from what it did about 3 weeks ago as the Soviets, with wisdom prevailing, slowly withdrew their forces. At one point, we had developed strong German forces to the north and south, and we were going to attack this hex and occupy it and cut off about almost a dozen Soviet formations. That was a freebie for the Germans. The Soviets were forming their own pocket for us. Now, unfortunately, we're only going to most likely the Soviets will continue to withdraw back into the line, and we won't be able to encircle very many, if at all, Soviet formations here. Other than that, all quiet around Army Group North's area of operations. If we move further south, same could be said really from the front, the Leningrad front, all the way down to Veliky Luki and Bryansk. Just shifted forces around a little bit here and there. The turns were executed very quickly for the Germans, did all the administrative functions for each turn. We didn't move our Panzer Corps any very much at all. Yeah, maybe shifted a little bit in this sector of the front. Otherwise, just stood pat, waiting out the mud. Now we have clear weather in this central South Soviet zone where there will be some offensive operations being conducted as well as the north. Continuing on with what happened during the mud season, Soviets moved a little bit, they wiggled a little bit in the pocket that we had formed, and we just continued to shift our forces to not allow them to go anywhere silly and make it the most convenient for us to destroy these Soviet formations. We move further south. They're pushing some forces through here, and we're kind of inviting them to do so that they may help us out with encircling a few hexes worth of Soviet formations. Moving further south past Orel. No change along this front, just airdrops, realigning forces, and then further south, just this pocket that we had. Finally, we'll be able to finish these forces off, hopefully the next week of May, but it's still mud in this swath of territory. And then further south, Rostov, clear weather, so we will be pressing the attack here to take Rostov. And then if we go down to our Romanian friends, encroaching on Sevastopol, but the Soviets are very strong, and the Romanians won't dent this whatsoever. Here is where we may have some progress, and Romanians will have their own pocket, a single Soviet corps. Let's get into some planning considerations. We'll zoom out, take a look at the front real quick. No change really from 5 weeks ago. We'll go back to Army Group North. We had pulled out some of our formations along this line. They're getting back into this part of the sector of the front in order to potentially eliminate a whole bunch of Soviets, but now the Soviets are pulling back. No real change. We're going to continue to grind forward towards Leningrad with the forces we have available here. We'll free up a strong number of our infantry divisions once we destroy these Soviets. In Tallinn, we're going to attack Tallinn and hopefully take it this turn, freeing up more German formations to put into line against Leningrad. We go further south. No real plans along this part of the front, holding in place for now. We move down. Here's where we're going to conduct some shaping operations. We can see the Soviets have really devoted themselves over those 28 weeks to bring a lot of forces in and around Moscow in preparation to defend in depth. Here we see very strong defensive combat values that we would have to punch through. That is not our intention at all. Just hold the line here for now. We'll finish off this pocket, clean up. This stray core won't be able to be destroyed this turn, but we can, for the most part, destroy these Soviets and get the forces that were forming the pocket back in line. That'll be part one of the shaping operation. I'm looking at breaking out in this sector here along this part of the front as a northern pincer to Tula, and we have a bridgehead already over the Zushka. We're going to get fully over that river with the, who do we have here? This is, all right, I had to step back a second. As I was outlining the forces we have here available to us to have a bridgehead over the Zushka and get the bulk of the 57th Panzer Corps also over the Zushka as a potential southern arm of a pincer over these Soviet forces, and to take Tula, or to break out and get a bridgehead over the Zushka and turn south in cooperation with the 31st Panzer Corps. I noticed, we look here real quick. Right now there are 6 motorized and panzer divisions attached to 57th. As I was about to discuss these forces here, I noticed that these panzer divisions, why do they say they're attached to 3rd? Yeah, okay. So they are attached to 3rd Panzer Army, which is very odd. All of these panzer divisions said they were attached to 3rd Panzer Army instead of 57th, when all along when we brought the 57th down here, they were attached to 57th Panzer Corps. Did I make some kind of odd mistake by reassigning them to 3rd Panzer? I don't believe so, and I don't believe a German Panzer Corps headquarters has been withdrawn. We have the, I don't want to get into the weeds, but I'm just trying to figure this out. We have the 14th, well, we have the 24th, the 30th, and the 2nd SS Panzer Corps up here, working in this panzer group. Down here we have the 57th. Now there are 6, combination of 6 panzer divisions and motorized divisions right now that are assigned to 57th, and there was also actually 7 which we had to assign to the 17th Infantry Corps to not overburden 57th, which already is, which leads me to believe, did we lose a Panzer Corps headquarters? Because the natural thing to have 7 combination of panzer divisions and motorized divisions, obviously that's a complement of 2 Panzer Corps, right? And I went to info screens, I looked in withdrawals. I don't know historically if we can go back. Can we go back? I don't think so. We're only seeing what's upcoming. We're going to have to review historically what we had for Panzer Corps headquarters. Do we have the 14th anywhere? We have the 3rd, 30. We have the 31st. We have the 3rd down south. We had the 14th. Let's go into our order of battle. I'm back. What we're looking at is the commander's report. This little journey of discovery with me. I have sorted headquarters name by alphabetically. We look down here. We're starting with first, so we have the 3rd Panzer Corps. We have the 2nd SS Panzer Corps. What numerically, as we travel down, the next in line Panzer Corps is the 24th. We jump from 3rd Panzer Corps up to, I believe, the 14th. There was no in-between denominator for a Panzer Corps between the 3rd and the 14th. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like the 14th Panzer Corps was withdrawn. We only have the 14th Battalion Corps. Here we have all up to the 13th, 17th. Yes, the 14th Panzer Corps was withdrawn on us. And that is unsatisfactory because we're already short on headquarters to begin with. And now in this sector, 57th is really wielding an unwieldy Panzer Corps. Who's in command of 57th? General Holodit. Ooh. Yeah, he's not ideal. That's unfortunate. These little things should be a little more keen on addressing and optimizing, but I didn't, and I missed that. I didn't look at some of the withdrawals coming in. I was looking for reinforcements, but I didn't check withdrawals, and we only have a Luftflotte coming in this turn. Besides the point, we will get over the Zushka with the 57th and the supporting infantry divisions as a southern pincer arm towards Tula. Moving further south, we have the 31st as a single Panzer Corps, but the Soviets' lines are pretty thin here, and we could break out and form a pincer arm either to swing left or right. And same could be said with the arrangement of our Panzer Corps here. We have the 37th along with the rest of the Panzer Corps from Army Group South, the 36th, and it should be the 38th, and the 38th, and the 3rd. We do have the 3rd. We will push towards Rostov this turn with the infantry divisions we have lined up against the Soviets, and hopefully take Taganrog. And that is a summary of 28 Days of Mud and the beginning of the first week of May, where we have some solid ground across a couple Soviet zones. We'll go about executing some of those plans, and we will get back with a situation report. All right, I'm back a little sooner than expected. Something significant is developing, and I wanted to catch it on camera. The planned encirclement of the forces to the west of Tula is starting to shape up. Originally, I just wanted to widen the bridgehead over this river and to shake out and force the Soviets back a little bit to get some more room to maneuver in the northern pincer here, this grouping of our forces. However, we're a little more successful than I expected we would be. On that note, The Soviets were holding out very well. They had 28 days to rest and refit in the mud. Very strong, and their fort levels were fairly high. Take a look here. There were fort level 2s. Where was the fort level 2 here, and there was another fort level 2 here. Where were our attacks? Just take a look at them. We are attacked across the front here, here, and here, pushing and driving the Soviets back to get freedom of maneuver for our 57th Panzer Corps formations to rush into the gap and start the movement to the north and east. And here we see the preliminary attacks that took place on the northern pincer to start to push the Soviets back and get some room for maneuver to start attacking further deeper into Soviet territory. This southern pincers attacks are more mature. We've conducted more attacks. We still have 3 combined panzer and motorized divisions to commit. Here we've had the preliminary attacks, the preparatory attacks for the further development of this axis of advance. Taking a look at the situation a little more closely, we zoom in here. We have another 10 miles to cover to reach the bank of the Ula, the southern bank of the Ula, and we have another 30 miles coming from north to south to reach the northern bank of the Ula, to complete an encirclement of a decent size Soviet concentration, which is not a bad opening salvo for the first week of May for shaping operations, air quote, shaping operations. This could be a legitimate mid-sized encirclement, mid to large size encirclement of Soviet forces. Can we pull it off? We still have the 12th Panzer, the 14th Motorized, and the 16th Panzer to commit from the southern pincer. We have to reach the southern bank with these 3 Panzer, these 3 formations that we have left. I think we can do it. We can reach the southern bank of the Ula. However, it's going to be a thin line of strung out panzer divisions and motorized divisions. We don't have that buffer we usually like to have on the inner line of the encirclement and the outer perimeter of the encirclement. So that's some considerations that we have to make when we commit our last 3 formations from 57th. Looking to the north, we still have 2 SS Panzer Grenadier divisions. The LAH is still in the fight. They can still conduct a deliberate attack, which will be against this Soviet tank corps alongside the 1st SS Motorized Brigade. That is the next planned attack. This brigade is holding starting the northern perimeter of this northern pincer arm, starting to hold the perimeter here against this riverbank, against some strong Soviet formations. What we have left for the northern arm of this pincer movement are at least, well, let's get a count. 22nd, the 18th, Totenkopf, Das Reich, 2nd and 1st, and further back, we could commit as the final perimeter sealing formations, the 19th Großdeutschland and 36th, as well as the 4th. So we have a host of formations, panzer and motorized, to commit with the northern pincer arm. Now it's how to apply the combat power we have left to us on both the northern and southern pincers. Let's start, get this on camera for now. Not bad, gives us some breathing room. Now we have to attack more to the south against this infantry corps to give us a little bit more space to reach the northern bank of the Ula. What's left in the tank for 1st SS and 1st SS, which will become the 1st SS Panzer Division, the 1st SS Motorized Brigade here. Do we have enough left? No, not enough left. Rather than expend what's left of combat power with these two formations with a hasty, we're going to bring down a fresh division and make a deliberate against this infantry corps, which does have a fort level of what? No fort level here? That's great. Very good. Totenkopf. Unfortunately, the corridor is not wide enough where we still have to move within Soviet zone of control, which takes up precious combat power. We're going to use 1st SS Motorized to widen and start forming the outer perimeter. So we have 2 screening brigades, which is not bad at all. At worst, they'll get forced to withdraw, and that's fine. But the Soviets will have to bring in enough combat power against these brigades to actually force a withdrawal, which right now I don't see in the making. The next attack should be to push back this tank corps even further, which will allow movement here unhindered by zone of control further down to reach the banks of the Ula. We could actually reach here. That is actually the better plan rather than here. Let's do that. 1st SS. We have enough. This is a kind of mauled Soviet tank formation, so let's try and do a hasty. Oh boy, the commanding reserves. Only scouted. Yeah. Not adequate combat power against. Okay, so we really need to have a fresh formation to make a deliberate against this tank corps, which would be Das Reich. Oof. You know what? If we attack north to south against this grouping, that'll give us freedom of maneuver to reach the Ula. That is probably a better plan. Unfortunately, we don't have infantry to contribute to that attack. Well, wait, maybe. Ooh. I love this clear weather. Do they have enough? Yes. That is fabulous. Route and 2 retreats. Much, much better. Next will be to move Das Reich here. We're not going against Soviet zone of control. That was critical to push those Soviet formations back out of this hex. Let's see if we can please push this back. Excellent. Alright. 1st SS is now going to be the outer perimeter. And we'll move down. Yeah. 1st SS Motorized is out of fuel to do anything right now. We only have 7, so that at least gets this hex into our control, which will be less movement factors to expend for, look at that, they still have, well, that's an airfield guards tank corps that retreated along with a rifle corps. We have to remove whatever is here, and then we should be able to seal the northern arm of this pincer attack. Strong. Fort level 1. You know what? Let's go for it. Yeah, I didn't expect. We'll try again. Das Reich isn't going to do anything else this turn. Oh, that is fantastic. Way to go. Inspired, hasty attack, taking initiative. Wow, that's fantastic. That seals the deal. Now, looking at this, the northern arm could actually seal the pincer on its own. That is remarkable. Just wanted to catch this on camera. This is great. All right. Let's bring in the 28th Jaeger to start assisting in perimeter security. And then we'll bring over, well, we're going to have to do some reassigning here. How did you make it all the way over here? Well, it was difficult to get everyone in command and control with the mud. We'll just reassign you to one of these attacking corps right now. Back after a little interruption. That was tremendous. That was tremendous. So which unit of ours will reach the north bank of the Ula? We did have Großdeutschland in here, right? Do we keep them fresh? Do we keep a nice uncommitted Panzer Corps? I mean, this is a decent size. Decent. This is like a mid-sized pocket. Not bad at all. It's like a pocket to the east of the pocket we just cleared out here. As you can see, we didn't attack in the mud, and we didn't have anyone to really attack this mechanized corps. You know what? We didn't, did we? And they're really not encircled, so we'll do this. Sorry, sidetrack. And we'll pull someone out. Can you still? There you go. Perfect. All right. Very good. So back to completing the link up between our two panzer groups. But before we do that, let's relieve in place. We'll relieve in place 18th. Let's get 18th down there. Actually, 18th could go here. Wow, we can complete the link up. This is awesome. That way we can commit the southern arm, the 3 formations we have left to commit in the southern arm, to provide some security, some perimeter security, so that the 3rd and the 5th Panzer aren't left hanging in the wind. All right. Away you go, 18th Motorized. Okay, the rest is gravy right now. We just all other actions will just be to secure this encirclement. We are not, therefore, we are not going to commit 30th. That was 14th. Oh, well, we'll do some reassignment of command and control to our headquarters. It was a little bit jumbled in here because we didn't want to move any of our Panzer Corps formations in the mud, so we left them as is after mud set in, and they were kind of jumbled. But we'll get that all sorted out Before I forget, let's get the second SS Panzer Corps in here. Our cavalry division will be out of supply, but oh wow, it's not. Excellent. Very good. We paved the way here with the 18th motorized. Definitely options to go to form the northern perimeter or the inner wing. I don't want to push any of 57th's formations over the Ula. We don't have to, yeah, because we're running light on formations here. Let's look what the southern wing could accomplish. Good security here. I don't see why we don't gain this ground here. And then put, really all they have here is this decent sized concentration here, but they'll have to attack into our infantry. And we also have on some of our own infantry that we can move out. Well, we probably won't move them. Yeah, a little light in troop count for the southern arm, so we will do a reduced move here. 18th can still accomplish a few. All right, 18th can come up here. Why do we go there? Yeah, we'll go here. All right, we're starting to get the outer perimeter. That leaves 14th motorized. Do I want to have a little more strength here? No, we'll bring 14th up here. And let's not forget our headquarters. Our headquarters here. Is there any juice left in any of these infantry divisions? Oh, we have 2 more. Very good. I forgot about them. You know, we don't have to. We can save some gas in the tank for the next week of action. Let's get past this river. And finally, 12th Panzer. We'll let this remain for now. How this is looking like, we definitely have some more capabilities with these panzer divisions that we just moved because we did not expend a great deal of fuel for some of them. All right, let's get link up. We might as well make 18th to link up. Very good. Very good. And can Das Reich move here? No, they can't. Das Reich is fully expended. They had that fantastic last-ditch hasty. Very good. That really set us up for success. Totenkopf can move down either here, outer perimeter, security, or here. Actually, it could even go here. Let's have someone else do that. Someone has to occupy this hex. 35th Infantry Division. Do that, and then we're gonna move. I don't want to move any more 30th. Keep as much 30th around the headquarters as possible. We'll move 1st Panzer Division. Yes, very good. 1st Panzer will come down. And start to seal off Tula. Soviet formations in Tula. Therefore, we'll bring up and lock in these formations here. And we still have gas in the tank. No, we don't. Not with 18th. With 16th we do. And there's a complete breach now in the Soviets' line, but really territorial gains, no real opportunity to destroy Soviet formations, lest we turn this panzer grouping to the south after they regroup and finish off this pocket, which I think I'm planning to do, and maybe even move down the 30th to assist the 31st. Yeah, we might do that. But for now, Tula is sealed off. What we're going to do, 16th Panzer. It'll kind of take us out of position here because there's no threat coming in from the east. Let's get poised a little more for future ops to the south with 16th. I did an aero recon. Let's do another one just to have as much clarity as we can on Soviets disposition here. Alright, it doesn't look too terrible. Actually, it looks pretty amazing right now. Totenkopf still has some gas in the tank. Where will Totenkopf go? Let's reduce any chance Soviets moving in here, and it also gets us a little bit more attack surface against any attacks towards Ryazan and threatening Moscow from the south. All of 2nd SS Panzer Corps have really done a fantastic job. They are now recuperating and waiting for next week's action. Who to commit next? I would like to occupy this hex with an infantry division if possible, but we're going to bring over this regiment to strengthen this part of the front a little better, and then we can commit. No, we're not going to commit 2nd Panzer. We already decided that. Okay, who's left? Who do we have left? I think this is it. 22nd. 22nd. And we could commit the 2nd just to make this a little more robust. 22nd will go here. Does it matter if the Soviets occupy this hex? Well, first of all, we gotta get our headquarters safe. Does it matter if they occupy this hex? Does it matter? I would like to occupy this hex. Which 22nd will do. And now to complete this. We don't have any infantry to pull away. Oh my goodness, look at that. Beautiful. Well, who's closer? Your headquarters is there, and 5th is where we'll take 5th out of the line here and bring him down. All right, that is it. That is an encirclement of these 4 Soviet forces. It was a little more difficult because of the time the Soviets had to build up. But to be fair, the Soviets are susceptible to this kind of action now, I believe. Maybe from Arel south, which we're going to do again and again as much as we can to destroy Soviet forces as efficiently and as fast as possible. Grinding towards Moscow could do it, but That's not advantageous and optimal. These types of actions are what's going to occur. How many Soviet formations are in here? 2, 4, 9, 10. A headquarters, 13, 14, 17, 22, 25, 26. That is not bad for the first week of May, opening salvo for the German spring-summer offensive. Very likely, it could be mud next turn. That's all right. We've achieved very nice success. We're adjacent to Tula, which is a industrial powerhouse, as we determined a turn or two ago. We'll take Tula and have a very nice anchor. Take Ryazan as well, have a nice anchor and threat to Moscow from the south. The Oka River here, very sturdy looking river, very difficult to attack over, and I'm sure the Soviets will have to commit forces definitely to defend to the south, thus weakening their lines elsewhere. All right, I'm not going to belabor this encirclement any longer. I just definitely wanted to get it on camera, and this is a very nice beginning to 1943. I'll be back with a sit rep with the rest of the German moves and attacks. I am back, moves and attacks complete. Let's get a sit rep. No change here. Across the front, just rearranged forces the last turn and no further adjustments. We did try to take Tallinn and we failed again. Let's look at the result. 3 attacks. Reduced a very strong fort level, 2.36 down to 1.2. Lost a lot of men again, trying to take Tallinn. Ridiculous. Then we attacked again, reduced their fort levels further, and then attacked again and failed utterly. Tallinn holds strong, a bastion for the motherland. They will not relent. They will not give up Tallinn. Disappointing. We'll keep at it. Maybe one day we'll take Tallinn. No change all the way across the front down past Velikailuki. And across here, we didn't make any attacks unnecessary, just building up our own fortification levels and resting and refitting, reconstituting. And then this stretch in front of Moscow, no change there. Trying to bait in a few Soviet formations to come and think they can do something about the situation here in front of Moscow. And then we'll capitalize. And if we go further south, no change, no update since we talked about it a little bit ago. I did a bunch of moves off camera, so that was a while ago. But now we have this encirclement, and I think this is a great beginning to 1943. Early May, not bad at all. We did shift the 30th down to this location where they are on axis rails, and once we destroy this Soviet, well, actually we can get by. We are going to relocate the 30th down around Kursk because we want to make the next potential pincer movement with the north arm here and then the southern arm here to encircle these Soviets, or some portion of them. Moving further south, no attack here. Along with our Hungarians, we did create some space and start to prepare maybe future ops towards Voronezh, or we shift these Panzer Corps a little further to the south, and this will be our jumping off point, and we'll attack from here and get an encirclement of these forces. Moving further south, no change in the mud. Didn't rearrange anyone here, except we shuttled forward all our Luftwaffe forces closer to the front where we could. This is a odd frontage right from here, from Voroshilovgrad down to the Rostov sector. Just trying to push forward and grind towards Rostov. Maybe pinch off all of these Soviet formations, but a lot of good that will do us because they are holding out like nobody's business. These forces again in Taganrog held out, reduced fort level minimally. Don't know what we're going to do about this. We may have to bring in the big guns, maybe a panzer division or two, and finally reduce these isolated pockets that just against all odds are holding out incredibly. I believe because it is a port, they are getting resupplied. Same with Talonin. I don't know the answer to these Soviets, why they're holding out so well. There's no port here. No town do they rest on. Just a tiny sliver of land with their backs to the Gulf of Finland. They are defending like maniacs. It's a terrible attack surface for the Germans because we are attacking across a major river portion of the Luga as it issues into the Gulf of Finland. Very tough going, and also there's another major river portion. So the Soviets are just tucked in there with very favorable defensive positions, not terrain-wise. Well, terrain-wise with the rivers here and here. Yeah, look what they are tying up. Really crazy, and look at their defensive levels. Well, to be fair, that's close to 50 plus, maybe less now. But a full complement, we've seen destroying a single Soviet corps lose up to 20 to 30,000 men. So this is over 100,000 men, more than likely, in this little section of land, this 20-mile pocket. That is the summary of this turn, our situation report for the first week of May. We are ready to hit next turn. Let's do it. Soviet reaction where they can. There's a lot of mud throughout the front, except for those few sections where there's solid ground. Soviets won't be able to do much, I believe, with the pocket. Let's get a little closer, zoom level, and see the Soviets' response. Again, I'll skip out all the bombs and the interdictions. I turned off. Believe it or not, I went into the air doctrines. I know. Bother with that very much, probably to my disadvantage, but I turned off interdictions. I was losing bombers during those interdictions, unescorted bombers, so I turned off all interdictions. Hopefully we're not doing that anymore. I would have passed turn too late with that. That's just beautiful to look at right there. Messy front, still stragglers, still pocket cleanup, isolated Soviet formations here and there, unable to do anything about it with the mud. We still have all those Soviet formations that have been sitting in a pocket for over a month now, 5 weeks, down in Army Group South's area of operations, which we'd really love to destroy. We got to take a close look at Army Group South's long-range plans and objectives for that army group. Obviously, it's to destroy Soviet formations. First priority. Rostov should be definitely a priority. Past Rostov, territorially, I am not sure how much farther east we want to go with Army Group South and devote all efforts to destroy Soviet formations. We could turn due south. There's a bevy of industrial locations to the south where Mykop is. Take a look at that. It's really would stretch our lines, and I don't like to do that. Alright, I caught out a whole bunch of bombing runs. Ridiculous amount. There was little to show for Soviet movement and attacks. I don't like this figure. Climbing too high, 2,500,000. Definitely want to keep it under 3 million at all costs. Not at all costs, but you know what I mean. That's just climbing too much. And meanwhile, the Soviets, not so much. Not so much. Next turn, and the preceding turns, this should jump up to 11 million. Soviet AFE losses still very high. 41,000 tanks off the board. And very few tank formations to be seen. Very few as far as it goes. In Soviet terms, tank formations on the battlefield. Let's take a look at the front. Let's zoom out. Well, we had aerial recon. Let's do an aerial recon. Just to show the troop density in front of Moscow. There we go. So let's zoom out. Take a look at the big picture. Still encroaching on Leningrad. And it looks like there's mud. There's now clear ground. Let's look at the weather real quick. Clear, mud, mud. So it swapped. It swapped around. Thankfully, well, actually, no, not thankfully. That's a bummer. Yeah. Where are you going? Yeah. Unfortunately, it is now mud where we had the encirclement just in the nick of time, right? Just in the nick of time. Our aerial recon displays the Soviets already forming a defensive line back where we had this breach in their lines, but it's thinner and thinner each time. These Soviets will have to wait to be forced to surrender. That's unfortunate. What does that mean? Well, let's look again. So the troop concentration is vast for the Soviets, what they have remaining in front of Moscow and Leningrad as well. From Moscow south, the lines are thin. And on the topic of what to do with Army Group South, we have to think about this. Territorially, we want Rostov. Mentioned going further south, Krasnodar, Novorossiysk, and Maikop down here. That would really extend the Germans' front. Look at how much land we would have to cover. Don't want to do it. This is actually very favorable for us just to seal off the Soviets, not even have to cover any of this part of their front. It's just the Azov Sea and Taganrog Bay. Speaking of Taganrog, there they are. They will hold out. They will remain to defend Taganrog. And they're actually moving out. There's only one. Huh. Interesting. And here they are, trying to move out here. This is a mess. We will clean it up. Now we can finally move some of these forces and rearrange, reconstitute, and get into better positions, attack positions for the coming weeks. What we want to do really is not worry about territorial gains, destroy the Soviets where we can here. Far less troop concentrations in the south. Very vulnerable, I believe, the Soviets are to getting applying encirclements to them. However, consequently, we won't net that many fish in our encirclements. It's a small Soviet troop count in comparison. Nonetheless, we will destroy the Soviets where we can. It'll make it easier and easier, and eventually there won't be any Soviets left, really, from Kursk down. If plans go as intended. Rostov has to fall, though. Yeah, this mud just makes a mess out of everything. What? Soviets have a breakout with 2 tank corps, some of their few remaining tank corps. That's all right. We'll just shift back and contain them and then destroy them in detail. Next turn, if it's not mud, and we'll finish off this pocket. And we can't attack. Well, we can attack now towards Leningrad, which is great, and we'll try to destroy the Soviets in these little pockets. And Tallinn, we can't even attack Tallinn. Mud will always be a factor in planning considerations this early in the year. We'll take advantage where we can and just wait out the mud where it appears in the Soviet zones. Point out, we have made a concerted effort to garrison all our cities with security forces, and partisans, there's been less and less partisans. So that is fantastic. That's a big win right there. Oh, how I hate partisans. Do we get any reinforcements? All right, another infantry division. Very good. Move them to the front. We'll start to rail down 30th Panzer Corps next to 31st Panzer Corps to get another panzer grouping ready to conduct the next offensive operations. And here's 31st. We should be able to get the 30th down there. Are there contiguous rail? Yes. Oh boy. Oh, I hate partisans. Oh, I hate them. There's less of them though. So we'll get 30th down here along with 31st to form another panzer grouping, and we will look to maybe get an encirclement here. Take another chunk out of the Soviets. We have to start getting some real concrete plans for Army Group South. Yeah, definitely Rostov, seal off some of these Soviets here, and start to get some small encirclements where we can, some shaping ops, and into something maybe bigger, some bigger picture efforts. Maybe taking a panzer grouping along with Army Group South and get a larger encirclement. We'll see how that goes. We are going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed watching. This is First Fire, non-assault move out.